we had realized that the structure of the old company was, I would say it was if we'd kept it the way it was, it was a challenge to take the same group of people with the same mentality and achieve what we were aspiring to achieve, with this new modern standard and so on and so forth. So as we started the plan to shift, we looked for a purpose-built site, which was this one. We built a purpose-built factory, and we took on board a private equity firm, Ascent Capital, that Rift Valley Ascent, exactly. So that gave us access to one, of course, gave us access to capital, but actually that was not really the primary reason for joining hands with Ascent. The primary reason was it gave us access to a much broader range of professional management across the board, from top management to finance to ESG to systems to operate the factory. Best practices is what they, essentially what they call it. We had no really good working knowledge of these best practices, so having a partner, a very professional partner like Ascent, who insist on best practices. First steps have been taken. We're very happy with the results. I think if you talk to our workers, they're very happy with the results. Very different environment, and it'll be ongoing. So we now have, I would say that we're on the early steps of the ladder. When we came to this new setup, it's a completely different constitution and makeup of the company. Now the majority has become Rift Valley Ascent Fund. We've now become minority shareholders. I still hold the position of CEO, but the board constitution now is a professional board. So we have an independent chairman. I'm sure you've seen on our website, Kevin Kihara.
Yes, Kihara.
Who's he's a career board member, so brings a lot of expertise and knowledge to our board. Then we have two members from Ascent, Rift Valley, one member from SFC Finance, who are our debt partners, and then it's myself on the board, and the other two minority shareholders. So that's the constitution of the board now. So now my father is essentially has retired from all operations now. Through the history of the old company, it started, but at peak we had over 500 employees at the old site. Then the motor industry in Kenya underwent severe decline. It began with the importation of second-hand motor vehicles, which very badly affected the assembly sector. So as a result, from being a company that was operating 3 shifts, 24 hours, we, over a number of years, came down to first to 2 shifts, and then in the end to 1 shift. The demand simply wasn't there. We shifted to this site, and unfortunately, so I have to look at this in 2 ways. Unfortunately for me, the major part of the shift occurred in 2017. 2017, I don't think there's any business in Kenya that had a good year, except for printers and helicopter operators. I think everybody else had a very bad year, so it was a very, very tough year to make this very big move to a very, modern site. However, I have to look at the positive. The positive is that despite it being such a bad year, the company stayed healthy, thank God. We were still profitable, and we were able to conclude the Rift Valley Ascent deal, even though 2017 was such a negative year. So they felt positive enough about our business. They trusted the long-term viability and profitability of this company, and so the deal didn't stop. It continued. So for me, 2017 was a positive and a negative year. So, yeah, but the plan going forward. So already we've seen an upturn in the business at the start of this year. Not dramatic, but at least it's positive. It's headed up. Over the next 2-3 years, our plan is very much to get back to 3 shifts if possible.
Over the next 3 years?
Yeah, 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know how long it's going to take. We hope it's 1 year. We hope it's 1 month. But the plan certainly is to grow out the business, scale up. We have the capacity. We're starting to train up staff in the local area, and of course we'd like to get back to 3 shifts. Historically, we had a high ratio of ladies in administration, and very, very low representation in manufacturing. However, I think today we should take the opportunity maybe to walk around for 10 minutes so you can see that it's not just me talking. We actually now have a number of ladies. Generally, in the in terms of engineering, they're more on the I would say on the reporting and design and development parts of engineering. However, they're there. In our electrical division, we have a number of ladies because they're very good with their hands and they're very diligent. I'm not saying men are not diligent, but the ladies are very, very, they're very precise. So we found that it's been a very real positive for the company to have ladies involved. Of course, we have not reached the goal we wish. We want to get up to what is considered best practice in terms of gender balance. But I would say that if we look at ourselves in Kenya, we're probably in manufacturing companies. I'd say we're pretty good. We've certainly taken a very proactive position with employing ladies. It might sound a bit cliche, but we've found it to be the truth. Being a reliable, consistent, honest supplier has taken us through the bad times because our customers know that we are as good as our word. We're very reliable people. We do very, very straightforward business, and we have a very long-term view and plan. We never take shortcuts. We are not about fast money. We're about long-term investment. And the proof is in the pudding. Here we sit today because of that acumen and ethos to stay, and to invest and reinvest in the people, reinvest in plant and technology, and to do it all the way very, very transparently, which is what we've done. And to add to all of that, we've always, right from the beginning, we took a position that we were going to be a quality supplier. So we never had any shortcuts in the terms of quality of all of our product range. So again, over the years, we built up a brand name which was considered in the market very reliable, better quality, so again, not just from the assemblers or the original equipment market, but also from the replacement market. People over the years believe in the quality of our product. At the moment, volume is bigger to Uganda. This should not be the case, of course. Tanzania is a much bigger market, much bigger.
Why is that?
Yes, so Tanzania, there's a number of issues. One, they have a historical reliance on a couple of local companies that were supplying in Tanzania. Both those companies are no longer in operation. In the years that they stopped operating, I think there was quite a heavy reliance on their market, have a heavy reliance on importation from China, Dubai. So we're having to go through the same process in Tanzania that we underwent in 1979 in Kenya. That's educating the market, educating them that actually local products from Kenya are actually a better quality than the product they may be getting from China and from Dubai, I would say. But also, I think there's some sort of a historical trust issue between Tanzania and Kenya, so it will take us some time. We will continue to work, breach the market. We will continue to educate. The customers will start. We work where trust will be built up, and we will keep on trying. If you just look at our history, the motor industry built itself up not just from the assembly side, product range, so saloon vehicles, light, medium, and heavy commercial vehicles. It was very successful. If you look at the lead up to the 90s, it was a very big industry. A lot of big support and a lot of support industries as well, tied to KVM, AVA, General Motors, and it was very, very. What's the word I'm looking for? Very vibrant. Unfortunately, and again, now being a Kenyan, I have to be very careful about the way that I phrase these things. Unfortunately, I think the country lacked a little bit of direction. And we took what was already a very successful industry, and this is a very sensitive topic because I understand that there's the argument that they wanted to allow more people access to the possibility of purchasing a vehicle, so there had to be a cheaper option. However, what we've done, of course, is go completely to second-hand motor vehicles. And generally, these are motor vehicles that have passed their product life cycle in other countries. They're not allowed to be used anywhere else, and they were brought here by their thousands and dumped here. So all the traction that the industry had and built up, and all the associated businesses and manufacturing facilities that built up alongside, all that traction overnight was lost. And then as a direct result, many of the big assemblers did away with their local parts development plans. So value addition from Kenyan parts became something that was sidelined. And we're still fighting that today to convince these companies that in the past had quite a high value, high number of local component parts to go back to that. Still, unfortunately, there's no clear directive from the government. However, we're hearing good things. You know, the government has come up with the 4 pillars, and one of the pillars is manufacturing. But there needs to be a very concise, direct statement from the government so that the industries understand that value addition from local components and local manufacturing is not an option; it's a must. You know, and on the flip side of that argument, we're not saying we want protectionism. You know, we're just saying that these should be products that have passed international quality standards, meet all the needs of our customers. You know, we're not asking for a free pass. You know, we expect our products to compare against the equivalent imported product from Japan or other countries. I think all our young Kenyans need to believe that shortcutism that we have come to it's become part of our culture. This is not the right way. They have to believe in the long-term future of their country, have pride in it, and be part of the process of change.